We did hear from, RBC Capital raising the firm's price target on Tesla to 305 from 212, keeping an outperform rating on shares of TSLA. RBC is actually modeling the company's autonomous driving, as a separate business. They see the leading full driving software offsetting some of the margin dilution we've seen from lower price models, and they say it's positioned well as they transition into a software business.
This industry, robotaxis, could be multiple $1 trillion of opportunity.
But I just really believe that Elon is the Thomas Edison of our time.
In this video, it's finally happened. A trailblazing Wall Street stock analyst has finally started modeling what's been in my Tesla valuation model for literally years. Tesla licensing FSD. This trailblazing analyst is years ahead of his Wall Street colleagues, although they're years behind reality, so I'm not sure if that's a compliment or an insult or maybe both. But in all seriousness, this is a good sign. The first signs that Wall Street's starting to grasp some of the potential of Tesla's insane multi-trillion-dollar autonomy opportunity. By the way, while we're on the topic of insults, if you're ever wondering why I regularly insult you guys and girls, and many other folks as well, head over to Twitter and check out my latest subscriber-only video in which I explain exactly why, if you can handle it.
For more on the future of Tesla, we're joined by Tom Narayan, and RBC Capital Markets lead equity analyst of Global Autos. He's with us here in the studio. Hey, Tom.
You remember Tom? I remember Tom. Tom has a brain. Tom makes sense. In fact, Tom's probably one of the most well-informed analysts when it comes to Tesla, although the bar is pretty low. But seriously, I've heard Tom speak numerous times now in the finance media. He really, really gets it. So the pressure's on, Tom. Don't f it up now. I've talked you up. Time to spit some facts about Tesla.
You were out with a note this morning that made a lot of interesting hypotheticals about how big the proposition is for autonomous driving for Tesla. I mean, you make it sound like robotaxis are going to take over the world and Tesla's going to have a big market share with this. Like, paint for us this future.
Yeah, and I think what's really pushed a lot of this to the fore is the deals that they've struck with Ford and GM, basically opening the supercharger network, and effectively these two OEMs coming to Tesla and choosing their platform. And I think this shows how they could sell software to other OEMs. The reason why robotaxis could be so transformational is their ability to save literally millions of lives. I mean, everybody in this room probably knows somebody who's been affected by a car accident.
What are the odds the Yahoo NPCs are biting their tongues, chomping at the bit, ready to jump in? But Tom, Teslas are very dangerous. They crash all the time. I read it in the fake news, which I'm part of. You reckon they're going to jump in, or just let him spit some facts? I think it's probably 50-50 odds, to be honest. It's going to be hard for them to help themselves chiming in with some FUD. As we know, facts don't care about your feelings, but in the finance media, especially when it comes to Tesla, their feelings don't care about our facts. So are they going to jump in and claim Teslas are extremely dangerous and unsafe and robotaxis will kill lots of people? Are they actually going to accept Tom's point? Robotaxis will literally save millions of lives. By the way, shout out to Monty Burns, still running his anti-Tesla FSD campaign. I hope Dan O'Dud is enjoying spending his fortune destroying his reputation.
Saving trillions of hours, opening up opportunities for mobility, the disabled. There's so many countless reasons why cities in Europe and China, for example, are already talking about banning private cars in the future, saving space and real estate in the cities. There's so many great reasons, and why regulators, I think, ultimately will push this. Now, this is far in the future. I do caveat that. But when you do the math on this, the potential for profitability of this is massive, especially versus just a car company.
Well, I mean, the point you make about robotaxis and the potential for autonomous vehicles, I mean, that feels like that's an argument that's been around for a while, and the timeline keeps getting pushed back. But it feels like the approach from Tesla has changed. It used to be a lot more closed. This idea of essentially partnering with Ford and GM points to their now willingness, right, to be able to work with partners. How does that open up additional levers for the company?
I mean, you're exactly right? People thought it was a walled garden of sorts, but, Elon Musk said on his shareholder meeting, he said flat out, like, we want to be like Android and really open up this software to everybody. My modeling that I did this morning for my $305 price target only assumes that they reach like mid-single digit percentage penetration on robotaxis in China and Europe, and only 25% penetration in the US. It's really through licensing.
Geez, that was a close call. I think Tom's narrowly avoided being roasted for upgrading his Tesla price target from 212 to 305. Why? He's actually changed his model. Something fundamental has changed to his valuation model. As he just mentioned, he's now modeling Tesla licensing FSD to other companies, which is a huge needle mover. One less corpse I need to leave in my wake following this wave of analyst price target increases. This is an important distinction. Tom's just mentions FSD licensing, obviously because Elon recently has tweeted that he's open to licensing FSD. Now, this has been obvious for years. It's been in my Tesla valuation model for years, but Tesla had not previously said will be open to licensing FSD. It's just really fucking obvious, unless you're a Wall Street analyst. So in Tom's defense, I'm not going to roast him like I roasted most of the other analysts updating their price targets, because he's actually made fundamental changes to his valuation model. The fact that he's now modeling Tesla licensing FSD is a fundamental shift. Many other analysts hopefully will follow suit. Isn't it funny, however, that some guy on the internet who makes videos on YouTube from his mum's basement seemed to know ahead of time Tesla would very, very likely license FSD, and now this may be one of the first, in fact probably the first analysts on Wall Street who are now modeling Tesla licensing FSD to other companies in their valuation model. Tell you what, man, the guy's dodged a bullet here. If he wasn't able to justify that increase of nearly 50% on his price target with a fundamental change to his valuation model, Tom was about to get barbecued.
That's what's driving the story. It's only them and maybe a couple of other folks that are really pioneering and leading the charge on this. Just look at the FSD software that we have today. They're the only game in town that has as many miles on the road.
But this idea of opening up the walled garden, if that's the analogy we want to use, how much of that was driven by the competition that is increasing in the EV space, the price cuts? I mean, we sort of look at these partnerships as if this is an all-win for Tesla, but does not also point to the needs that Tesla now has?
This cannot be real life. Did she just imply that the reason Tesla would allow other companies to access their supercharging network is because Tesla needs to do that? That the competition is... This doesn't make any sense. It really stuns me. I mean, the fact that people who discuss Tesla literally every single day don't have a good read on the company or their values or their mission. Do they not know about the open sourcing of patents 10 years ago? Do they really think that there's got to be an alternative motivation there? Is it that hard for them to digest? This is in the best interest of Tesla's mission of accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy, which means other companies need to also make EVs, not just Tesla. Is it that hard for them to imagine that Tesla's doing this to help the whole industry and the world rather than for their own financial gain or out of desperation? This can't be a serious question. Can someone, just in the comments below, could somebody please try to rationalize, okay, just maybe she did mean what she was saying. Could somebody please explain exactly how Tesla would be opening their supercharger networks due to competition or Tesla needing to do this? I actually don't understand.
Yeah, I think this was always the goal, always in mind, right? It was get as many cars on the road as possible, prove the technology, and then open up and license it to everybody. The reason why they're cutting pricing is they want EV penetration to increase. If your neighbor has an EV, you're more likely to buy one as well. The real denominator here is ICE cars. And opening it up actually increases EV penetration and also increases the chance that you'll see that their software is probably the best, if not one of the best, in the entire group. And there's only a handful of folks that are really doing this. And so this industry, robotaxis, could be multiple $1 trillion of opportunity. And these guys are one of a handful of folks who are actually doing it.
I told you this guy gets it. Have you heard a single other analyst on Wall Street? And no, ARK Invest aren't analysts. Cathie Wood is not an analyst. Have you heard a single other analyst on Wall Street describe the autonomous opportunity, the robotaxi opportunity, as being worth multiple trillions of dollars? Please let me know if you have. I'm serious. This is not hyperbole. I want to know if there's a single other analyst who's mentioned this opportunity and discussed multiple trillions of dollars. I haven't heard one. He's right. And again, please refer to my Tesla valuation model available exclusively on Patreon to supporters at the investor level and above. There's a lot of Tesla Q virgins who relentlessly roast my Tesla fair valuation, formerly known as price targets. Not once have they ever shown the underlying assumptions from the valuation model behind those price targets. If they did, it'd be pretty apparent to them that my Tesla price targets, my fair valuation, is heavily dependent on autonomy. It's one of these things that, apart from this guy, I haven't heard anyone on Wall Street really understand and articulate the scale, the size of the opportunity, but it is an absolute needle mover. This is why I'm still buying Tesla stock with literally every spare cent.
Tesla, what's the next Tesla? What's the next Tesla? Tesla's going up too much. What's the next Tesla?
There's going to be a lot of people 5-10 years time going, man, I really wish I had have understood the scale of the robotaxi opportunity before the entire stock market figured it out. Oh well, I'll just wallow in regret for the rest of my life. Ain't going to be me. Still buying with every spare cent. Still haven't sold a single share, and in a few years and decades time, people are really going to understand why.
So when we're talking about your $305 price target, that's a 12-month price target. It doesn't sound like, I mean, if you're looking at a certain percentage of EV penetration, of robotaxi penetration, that ain't happening for
Long time.
5 years, 10 years?
No, actually, so my
20 years?
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So my robotaxi model uses a 2040 estimate and discounts it back. My FSD is 2035 and discounts it back.
I fucking love this guy. Bro, I'm so impressed. I mean, I knew ahead of time. I called it. This guy gets it. I've heard him before. He gets it. Hope he doesn't disappoint. And he certainly has not. He just said he's modeling certain portions of Tesla's business out to 2040. By the way, makes two of us. In fact, I go even further than that. I'm just so impressed. I shouldn't be. Everyone on Wall Street has a big enough brain to understand this and model out that far and work back from there. But strangely, so few of them, in fact, I think none of them, other than this guy, actually do.
Even when I do that, I still get 70% of the $305 is robotaxis. Just because the value is so big. Think of how much you pay for Uber for a mile. And think of how much private car ownership is for you.
But there's
You're
so
still
much,
willing to pay more.
But given that, when you increase the time horizon, you increase the unpredictability. I mean, there are so many other players that could come in and take some of that market share, no?
Sure, that could definitely happen. But how many other players have a $800, $900 billion market cap that can use the capital? Maybe Google, folks like that.
That's my question. I mean, who poses the biggest threat right now?
Yeah, I don't know if I view it as a threat, really. It's my modeling only has them capturing 20% of non-Tesla robotaxis. There's still 80% that can go to other folks, right? There are other companies out there. Your Mobileye, there's, Google, Waymo, GM has Cruise. There's other players out there. But at this point, how many are as well capitalized? We saw what happened to Argo last year. They couldn't just come up with the capital. You need a lot of capital to throw at this. And Tesla has that capital.
We know what matters a lot more than having the capital. Data, as I've said a million times, probably more than that, to be honest. Tesla has an unassailable data lead. And I mean that. If you don't know what unassailable means, whip out a dictionary. I mean what I say. Their data lead is unassailable. Now, you could argue, well, if a company has a lot of capital, couldn't they accumulate that much data faster than Tesla? In theory, it's possible. Let me explain how this would work. If Google decides to start producing vehicles in the millions per year and somehow ramps production faster than Tesla's done, and then overtakes Tesla in annual production on vehicles covered in sensors and starts collecting data, maybe within a time frame of about a decade or so, they could catch up to Tesla in terms of the data. However, in order for Google to do that, they would end up bankrupting the business. They would not have enough capital to make this happen. They'd also need the expertise. This is why I say unassailable. It's not hyperbole. I've thought about this. In order for any company to run down Tesla, they'd probably need to invest about $1 trillion. And they'd still take probably more than a decade to catch up. And are there any companies on earth that have $1 trillion of cash sitting around? Spoiler alert, no. Although in the future, ironically, Tesla will probably be that company. But it's important. Yes, capital matters, but you need to deploy that capital. And the only way to get the data, unless you literally negotiate with Tesla to buy data, and good luck with that, is to build your own fleet of vehicles. Tesla already has close to 4 million vehicles on roads today. They're going to add about another 2 million vehicles to the fleet in the next 12 months. More than that. A decade from now, Tesla's fleet will be in excess of 100 million vehicles, give or take. Can you please name another company that between now and 10 years from now, over the next decade, could build out a fleet of over 100 million vehicles covered in sensors just to collect the data to beat Tesla, to chase them down in terms of autonomy? There's no company on the planet who has the capital to do this. If a CEO even attempted this, they'd be shit-canned. Bro, are you serious? You want to invest more than the entire market capitalization of this company over the next 10 years just trying on a whim to maybe have the chance of catching up to Tesla with their data lead on autonomy? Are you stupid? Out of here. So while I do get Tom's point, outside of China, where there's not a lot of transparency, I don't see any company chasing Tesla's lead down. As I've said in the past, the solutions from Cruise and Waymo, it's not the same thing. This isn't, however, evident to most people. Still unsure if Tom is aware of this either. But Tom, if you're watching, doubt he is. But hey, you never know. He seems to get Tesla better than most analysts. Tesla's going to capture the majority of the autonomy market in the West. That being said, I too use very conservative estimates in my own Tesla valuation model. Not because I think they're realistic, But because I do have an optimism bias, that being said, I really don't see any company running Tesla's data lead down, period. Outside of China, anyway. I don't know what's going on in China. And if the CCP wants something, the CCP gets something. So who knows? At some point, they might say, hey, Tesla, you can't operate autonomy here. F you. It's possible.
Okay, our chart of the day, it is Tesla. It has snapped that 13-day winning streak. Bryn, more than $200 billion in market cap added over that period of time. It's just astounding when you really put those numbers into context. 13 straight days, $200 billion in market cap. What do you do? By the way, target raised to 305 at RBC. Just give us the thought process of an investor in this name watching that run happen and what you think now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a volatile name. Obviously, Elon is everywhere, has his hands in so many different aspects. So I have half the position I just own outright, and the other half I sell calls against. And I keep getting those positions, which I'll sell like 15 to 20% out of the money calls, but the stock keeps moving higher. So that position will get taken away. So I have my core, and then with my other covered call, as the stock has moved higher, I am very comfortable selling calls against that. And if it gets called away, so be it. Because you have to understand, Tesla is probably the top option traded stock. It has been all year. And so there's a ton of option premium. And so for me, when there's a ton of option premium, I'm happy to like make a 25% trade between the upside and selling calls. To me, that's the comfortable way to play it, because I do agree, like their margins are going to come down. You can walk through, there's going to be more competition. But I just really believe that Elon is the Thomas Edison of our time.
But Tesla Q told me that Elon Musk is the biggest fraud of our time. I don't know who to believe.
Something tells me you're not backing up the tractor anytime soon for Tesla.
Well, I think you know what's on my mind, right? Why do I not own Tesla, but why do I own GM?
Brain damage, idiocy, incompetence, blindness, stupidity, humiliation fetish, intense desire to destroy capital, dinosaur fetish, believing comments made by the people who control Biden. Did it, Mary? It led. I know where this is going, surely.
Tesla's just a car company.
Next minute, a comparison about Tesla's valuation versus the entire automotive market or the top automotive company, something like that, right? Potato's gonna potato.
And Rob just said something pretty smart here. You know, if you've got a strategy, you got to stick to it, all right? You got to stick to your knitting. It's actually something my father said to me a long time ago and drove it home, okay? Now, look, if I buy Tesla at any price, I can't tell you why that is the right price to buy it at. And I have to answer to clients when they say, look, it was 200, it went to 100, why did you buy it at 200? If I can't justify that, I won't do it. Now, in GM, I can justify it, and here's why. Besides the fact that the multiples are too low, besides the fact that the estimates are going up, here's the most important thing. They're buying back shares. This is where valuation matters to a guy like me, okay? They have the cash flow at this price to buy back shares, shrinking their share count 5% year over year at the last quarter, and they're doing it at 70% of book value. Now, I can go on and on about the autonomous vehicle, the cruise business, the electric vehicle business. I did get a Lyric. It's a pretty sexy car. I mean, I really kind of like it.
So, spoiler alert, when the world changes, doing what you've been doing and sticking to a strategy that in the old world may have been successful probably won't continue to be successful. Did you guys notice, by the way, the inflection in this guy's voice talking about getting this Lyric? I did get a Lyric and I kind of sort of like it. He doesn't even believe what he's saying. He couldn't say it's a fantastic vehicle and he loves it because it's not and he doesn't. He literally said, I kind of really like it or something like that. And the inflection in his voice. Jesus Christ, dude.
I do think their strategy is good, but at the end of the day, Scott, this is why valuation matters to me.
Tell you what, man, a lot of these investing dinosaurs are going to be going the same way of the internal combustion engine vehicle. They can't even see the imminent asteroid impact. If only they had enough energy to open their eyes, use their brain, and figure out what's going on. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also, AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going,
What do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect.
believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. Certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point. It's something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments.
Oh my god, snake oil salmon sold out. Oh my god, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But
constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.